Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, where today, as we anticipate the start of the NFL regular season on Thursday between the Lions and Chiefs, we are going to be going through and putting all the NFL teams on a tier list to start the season. Right now, I have 6 tiers. I have Super Bowl contender, pretty obvious. Divisional winners, like good teams are not quite good enough to be in the Super Bowl contender tier. We got wild card teams. We got teams that really depends on the quarterback performance. We got teams that are just plain meh. And we got teams that are obviously trying to tank for Caleb Williams. So let's go and get started with one of the teams that automatically goes in one of the bottom tiers in the Arizona Cardinals because they are tanking. It's obvious. They got rid of almost all their good players. They're starting Josh Dobbs week 1 because they cut Colt McCoy and Kyler Murray's on the pup list. And honestly, Kyler might not play this year depending on how his A, recovery goes, and B, how bad the Cardinals are. They might just sit him. They might. So I feel bad for those players. I feel bad for their coach because the GM and owner are incompetent and really want to tank and ruin a young player's career in Caleb Williams. Let's just go with that. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons, who I'm putting in meh tier. Not really great, not really a wild card team, but they're not terrible. They we're going to have one of the best run games in the league with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. That old line is going to be a run blocking machine. I just got questions about that defense, and I got questions about Desmond Ridder in the passing game. That's the reason why they're in meh tier, because they're not really that good. Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens, and they're going to go in the wild card tier because I think the Bengals are the division favorites for me. But it's going to be interesting this year to see how much better a passer Lamar Jackson can be without Greg Roman really hampering that offense. Because I believe that Lamar is a good passer. He is an above-average passer in this league. Can struggle with consistency at times like so many of the other quarterbacks in that same tier. But if he can develop consistency in the passing game without those dynamic legs of his, he could be dangerous. Potentially even be an MVP-level quarterback this year. And I think they can do that. I think they're going to be more solidly in the wild card tier, but they can challenge the Bengals for the division easily. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills. They're a Super Bowl contender still for me, but this is their last year. I'm going to consider them one if they don't go far this year. If they lose in the divisional round again, they're no longer Super Bowl contenders for me, and this core is not going to get it done. I pray that's not the case because Buffalo deserves it. Let's just say that. They've been through enough heartache as a city, as a fan base. They deserve a Super Bowl, but you really don't know what's going on. Panthers, another team I'm going to put in meh tier, mainly because you just don't know what Bryce Young is going to be. I mean, really, I can't say it depends on the quarterback because we expect rookies not to be great right away, so I think they're still good to be in meh. They traded away their best wide receiver to get up and get Bryce Young, but that defense is going to be legit. But it's kind of a wait-and-see game with the Panthers. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears, who I think are... I might be too mean. I'm putting them in meh. Actually, no. It depends on the quarterback. It depends on Justin Fields. If he can develop to be an average passer, not even above average or superstar, an average passer, this team will be better than people expect. Because he is a dynamic playmaker. He has the arm talent. He just needs to put it all together. I think the Bears did a good job this offseason, really bringing some better weapons around him. Just getting DJ Moore in exchange for a number 1 pick is an absolute great thing. But I still have questions about the O-line. I still have questions about the defense. Even though they did get better in both areas, they're still not great. And we need to see Justin Fields be a better passer. It doesn't matter how many highlight reel plays he makes if he doesn't do that for the entire game. But he has the potential to do that. He really, really does. But until he does... the Bears can be good or they can be really bad if he doesn't. So that's why they're in it depends on the quarterback tier because I really don't know where to put them. Next up, we got the Bengals. They are in the Super Bowl tier. As long as you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, you're pretty much going to be a Super Bowl contender until one of them is gone. So not really much to say there. And the Cleveland Browns, another team where it depends on the quarterback because if Deshaun Watson stinks like he did when he played last season, this team is not going to go anywhere. But they have the talent around Deshaun to really make some noise. But again, it depends on the play of the quarterback if this whole machine gets going. Because they got rid of Joe Woods. They got talent on that defense. They got talent on the offense. They got one of the top 3 running backs in the league in Nick Chubb. Some good weapons. It just depends on if Deshaun can get the job done. And we don't know that. He hasn't been good since 2019. Simple as that. And so we really, really have no idea what he's going to do. And that is going to be telling of the Cleveland Browns season. Next, we got the Dallas Cowboys, who I'm going to put in wild card, mainly because I think the Eagles are going to win that division. And the Cowboys, they do everything good. But there's not one thing they do excellent. They got a good quarterback. They got a good running game. They got good weapons. They got a good O-line. They got a good defense. But not one of those areas is really one that sets them over the top to get into the next tier of teams to be like either true contenders or maybe even Super Bowl contenders as well. And that's kind of like what keeps the Cowboys back. They don't do one thing excellent. Everything they do is good, but they need one thing that is excellent. Next up, we've got the Denver Broncos. Another team I'm putting in depends on the quarterback because it all depends on Russell Wilson if he can get back to his form in Seattle. If we get another year like we did when he was in Denver last year, one, he's going to be cooked, and the Broncos wasted a ton of capital and a ton of money on a guy who's not that good. But if he does do well, as long as he has receivers to throw to, as they apparently go through 5 injuries in the preseason for receivers, this team has the talent to get there. They got a good O-line, they got a good defense, and if Russ plays well, they could be a wild card team pretty easily. But we just don't know if that's him or not. So again, another team where it depends on the quarterback. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions, who I'm putting in divisional. They're my favorites to win the NFC North, and I think they really can have an 11-12 win season. I think they got a good culture going on. The players are really, really buying into what is going on, and they also have good players. They got good coaching, and I think this is a year the Lions can break out and make something of themselves. And if they don't, I'm going to be really disappointed in them because I really do believe in this team. And that's coming from a Packers fan. And speaking of the Packers, another team where it depends on the quarterback. If Jordan Love is an average to above average as his first year as a starter, I'm going to be the happiest man on earth. As long as he does not suck, I'll be happy. Because I think this team can be good. They got a pretty good schedule for them, especially as a young team. They got really young weapons that can grow with Jordan, a good O-line, which is important for a young quarterback, a good running back duo, and a supposedly good defense as long as Joe Barry doesn't screw it up because we got talent on that defense. And so it's just, if Jordan Love is good, this could be a team that's contending for a division. They really can. But if Jordan Love is not good, they could be a bottom 7 team in the league, just due to the experience of everything around them. It just really, really hinges on Jordan Love. And I think he can be good. But we just have to wait and see. Next up, we got the Houston Texans. They're taken. They're bad. They're just, even with getting C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, there's just too many holes on this roster that need to be improved upon for them to be anything serious as the contenders. But I do believe DeMeco Ryans is the right coach for this team. I think they're going to be scrappy. They're going to be close games. I just don't think they have enough talent yet to do there, which is surprising why they traded away their first round pick that they themselves own to the Cardinals and move up to get Will Anderson when they're not going to be that good, in my opinion. But maybe they know something I don't. But I still think they're going to be pretty bad. Next up, we got the Colts. Another team that is, I think they're going to be a bottom 3 team in the league. Anthony Richardson is going to die. I just have no idea what Jim Irsay is doing. I do believe in their head coach is going to be a good coach for Richardson personally because he really helped coach up Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. But I just don't know what they're doing. They just made Jonathan Taylor one of the best running backs in the league mad and tried to trade him. They really don't have a lot of talent anywhere. The defense is not as good as it used to be. The O-line has been not good recently. And it's just, they're throwing Richardson to the wolves, so he clearly needs time to develop because he has talent. He's like one of the most talented quarterbacks in history. He needs time to put it together. I don't think throwing him out there right away is going to be a good thing. I really do think they are going to struggle this year. And so they're going to be in tank bowl. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them winning their division. They can be really, really good this year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to show that last year was not a fluke, and they're going to be really good. They got Christian Kirk Calvin Ridley's coming back from suspension. Their defense is young and hungry, and I think this team is going to be really, really good. Now I got a Kansas City defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, along as Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. They're Super Bowl contenders year after year, so they're up there. No need to explain it. Chargers, I got them being a wild card team. I really do think that this team can finally put it together. Joe Lombardi's not going to have Justin Herbert throw checkdowns all the time, and as long as they stay healthy, I think they can really compete for the wild card spot there. Next up, we got the LA Rams, who I'm putting in another team that depends on the quarterback because Matt Stafford did not play well last year. He played well in 2021 and led them to the Super Bowl. They still got talent on this team. They still got Cooper Kupp, even though he's still struggling with injuries. Aaron Donald is still there. But it depends on Stafford, and it also depends on the O-line that honestly has been pretty bad recently. So, yeah, not much there. Then we got the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm sorry. I'm putting them in meh. They're not a really good team. They really didn't improve at the quarterback position with trading out Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo. Andrew Garoppolo is going to get injured by week 3. And they got Aiden O'Connell and Brian Hoyer as their quarterbacks after that. Josh McDaniels is a boob as a head coach. He's not that good. They still got Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, but the defense only has like Max Crosby, and that's it. And so there's going to be a very meh. I can see them potentially being in contention for tank bowl type tier, but right now I'm putting them in meh. Now we got the Miami Dolphins, who I am putting in wild card potential. As long as Tua stays healthy, they could be there. Like we saw last year when Tua was healthy, when he didn't have a concussion every other play, this offense was humble with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and I think that they can reach that potential again. They almost beat the Bills last year in the players with Skylar Thompson, so I think they can be really, really good. Vikings, another team I can see being in the wild card. They're definitely going to take a step back from last year, but they still got enough talent on this team to really push. Kirk Cousins is still a very solid quarterback. Justin Jefferson is a stud of wide receiver. TJ Hawkinson just signed a big extension for them. But the defense can be iffy. The O-line can be iffy as well. So, be interesting to see how Minnesota does. Patriots, another team I'm putting in meh. I got no idea what Bill Belichick is doing. Mac Jones did not do good last year, but we'll see if getting a decent offensive coordinator and Bill O'Brien will help him out. But there's just not a lot of talent here either, which is really, really weird because the defense will still be good under Belichick, but it's just I really don't know what else to say. I get the feeling a bland mush coming from New England this year. So right now they're in meh. Saints, I'm putting them in divisional tier. I think they can win the NFC South. I think their defense is pretty good. Derek Carr is an all-right option to quarterback. Not necessarily great, but you could do worse out there. But just mainly because the NFC South is very, very weak that I think the Saints can win that. Giants, putting them in depend on the quarterback tier because will Daniel Jones be like last year and be decent, or is he going to be like the first 4 years of his career and be absolute trash? And that's going to determine where the Giants season goes. They got a good defense. Saquon Barkley's a stud, and I think they got some decent weapons now, but can Daniel Jones not fumble the ball away? That is a perennial question with them. Next up, we got the New York Jets, another team in the AFC that is going to be competing for a wild card spot. Aaron Rodgers is a definite upgrade for them at quarterback because that was their one position in need that they needed to address this offseason, and they did that. Now, the question is, can the offensive line give him enough protection? Because their O-line is, 1, injured, and 2, not that good. And so their season really, really hinges on that offensive line. If they can protect Rodgers, this team can compete with the Bills for the division. They could be a really dangerous threat in the playoffs, especially with the young weapons they got. And that defense, oh my goodness, that defense is legit. But the question is, one, is Rodgers' last season in Green Bay going to be what his future is, or is he going to go back to his 2-time back-to-back MVP form? And 2, would the O-line give him that opportunity? Because if he's getting hit like 10 times a game, I'm sorry, no matter who is back there as quarterback, that's not going to be good long term. So, but I still think they're still going to be a wild card team. I think Rodgers just having that upgraded quarterback is going to do wonders for this team. Now we got the Philadelphia Eagles. They are a Super Bowl contender. They still got a good roster. Jalen Hurts continues to improve every year. They got stud receivers, and they're into Week 8 at NFC, so They are pretty clear Super Bowl contenders. Now I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can see them being a sneaky wild card team. I think Kenny Pickett's going to be a good quarterback. They got a solid roster, good coaching, and so they're at the tail end of wild card tier, but they can still be good. Next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Well, I'm putting in depends on the quarterback because the reason why they made the playoffs last year is because Geno Smith somehow turned into a good quarterback. Now, is last season just a one-year fluke, or are we going to see more of the same Geno from last year this season? That is going to determine the Seattle season. Because they still got a decent defense. They got a young defense. They got good weapons. But can Geno still play well? That is the big question mark. So it really depends on the quarterback for Seattle where they go. Now we got the San Francisco 49ers. I'm putting them in divisional tier. The reason why they're not in Super Bowl contender because we don't know how the quarterback situation is going to be because Brock Purdy. But to be fair, you can throw in any quarterback into a Shanahan system and he'll do well. And Nick Bosa, is he going to play? Because right now he's holding out in camp due to contract negotiations. But if those two things go well, they can easily make a Super Bowl. But right now, they're in division. The team that is in Matt is the Buccaneers. There's not really much to say. I mean, they got Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. I don't think they're bad enough to be in the Tank Bowl tier, but they're also not great either. And another team going to... Honestly, all three of these teams are going into meh. Because I don't think either the Titans or the Commanders are going to be that bad this year. But there's not really much to give me a lot of hope. So, this is what my tier list looks like. Right now, we got the Chiefs, Eagles, Bengals, and Bills as Super Bowl contenders. Divisional leaders going to be the 49ers, Lions, Jaguars, and Saints. Teams competing for the wild card, in my opinion, are the Ravens, Cowboys, Vikings, Jets, Dolphins, Chargers, and Steelers. And teams that could potentially shake things up depending on quarterback play are the Seahawks, Browns, Packers, Rams, Broncos, Giants, and Bears. Teams are just kind of meh going through the motion are the Titans, Commanders, Raiders, Patriots, Panthers, Falcons, and Buccaneers. And the absolute worst of the league, Texans, Colts, Cardinals. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Where you think teams are going to head up? Who could be a surprise team heading into the year? And I'll see you guys again very, very soon with my pick'ems tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for watching. See you around.